Okay, so here are the instructions for the Palladio visualization assignment. Hopefully you have seen the previous videos on Palladio and we'll already have something of a feel for it, but I want to make this as clear as possible, hopefully answer any questions that might come up ahead of time. Undoubtedly, there'll still be questions, but we'll do what we can. So, in this time assignment, you'll take a small, messy humanities data set, which is provided in the assignment. Um, though, if you really want to use your own data set, you are welcome to. That might be more work than it's worth, but anyways. And yeah, bring it to life using Palladio. It's a browser-based tool for visualizing complex historical and cultural relationships. You'll explore the nuances of metadata in the humanities, refine the dataset for clarity, and create a compelling network graph that reveals meaningful connections. The focus isn't just on creating a graph, it's on learning how to structure data, clean it thoughtfully, and interpret what a network can and can't tell us about people, places, and events. So the goals are to identify and correct inconsistencies in humanities data set. You can complete this assignment without doing any data cleaning, but I would recommend actually looking through the spreadsheet and noticing when things aren't quite how they might want to be. So yeah, you'll use Palladio to create a network visualization that highlight the relationships among entities, interpret visualizations critically, acknowledging gaps and ambiguities in the data, and reflect on the choices and assumptions behind cleaning data in the humanities. So let's get to the specific instructions. So start with a data set. Uh, as I say, I provide one of, well, I Joe Patterson provides one, but through her, I am providing one uh, on jazz musicians. But you can choose your own if you happen to have something that you want to work with. You know, maybe historical letters or museum musicians or art exhibitions, whatever you think would have rich enough relationships to be worth visualizing. So then you want to clean and enrich the data. You have a spreadsheet. You might want to edit it to improve the names or the dates or the relationships, or you might want to create entire new columns that have combined types of information, possibly. So look carefully at the names. You probably won't catch everything, and that's okay. Part of the project is to, notice that we can't catch everything. But give it a try. Think about certain groupings that might be valuable, what you might want to put in relationship to one another. So the data includes things like the principal musician involved and an album that they worked on and the collaborators they have, where the musician was born and where the recording happened. There's a bunch of things like that. How would you want these things to be set in relationship to each other? Then you load that information into Palladio. Hopefully you've seen the video quickly on how to do that. And yeah, you visualize the relationships using the graph and or map view. I'm encouraging you to use the graph view, but we'll talk about the map uh, and the gallery in a moment. So then you have to create a report. There's no great way to do this, so what I'm suggesting you do is take screenshots of the network view for each network you create. And I want you to create three, at least three network graphs. Um, try to only do three, and include three, one for each, brief, one paragraph, maybe one sentence, explanations of what your graphs convey and any changes you made to the data set to accomplish your visualization. What does the visualization reveal? What is still hidden? Um, if you want, since the options do exist, you can use the instead of three network graphs, you could do two network graphs and a map, or two network graphs and a gallery. I will warn you right now, the gallery view will be difficult because of the way that images are pulled. There's a lot of editing that you would need to do, um, but it is doable. So yeah, that's the idea. It's like you have data, you have the ability to turn it into a variety of graphs. You can put a bunch of different things in relationship to each other, and then tell me a little bit about what that means. Um, I will warn you right now, this assignment could easily eat up 3 hours. You could also do, a perfectly acceptable one in about, 20 minutes. And that's fine. But the more detailed you get, the more you try to play around with it, the more uh, the more of a time sink it could be. So again, 80/20 rule, what's worth your time investment? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Um, some other things I want to say. Information is not saved between sessions. So if you reload or come back to it, everything that you uploaded to it is gone. And if you switch between visualization options, which I show here, the data, map, graph, table, whatever you did on that previous option, it's gone. The data will still be there as long as you don't reload, but you'll have to recreate it again. So be careful, because that can lose you some work if you were playing around with something. This is one of the disadvantages of a web-based tool. On the other hand, if you messed something up and you got lost, it can be a really easy way to just reset things. But yeah, these are the options: map, graph, table, gallery. I'm encouraging you to make three different graphs and very short explanations, paragraph or less. One sentence is fine, and show how you've made things sit in relationship to each other and what that might tell you about things. Uh, if you want to do a gallery or if you want to do a map, you can swap out one or two of those graph visualizations for that. Okay, just going to give you a quick pointers here. So this is the verify special characters button. It is when you're upload the data, it's one of the buttons that you might need to click. Think about what you're whether or not that needs to be checked. In part because this is, for example, the collaborators column from the data set. So the comma here is telling you this is one full string. If I verify this special character, then it's just one full thing, and we don't need to um, treat this string as anything special. It's just happens to be a long string that is, for example, Antonio Carlos Jobim, comma Stan gets. It's just one thing. Alternatively, if we want, we can put in uh, a comma in the multiple values field, and then it'll understand that actually Antonio Carlos Jobim is one thing and Stan Getz is another thing. That's what that little two there besides Antonio Carlos Jobim means. And they can be separate nodes for consideration in whatever visualization that you're doing. This could be really useful if you want to have a bunch of different things in one single column, which is a thing that you might want to do, possibly even columns that you don't currently have. Don't know if that is, but it's a way, it's a tool that you have that you can use to reuse the data that you have been given in the spreadsheet. And then, for example, if you have a graph where you have selected the name and the target is the collaborators, and you have made the collaborators separated by telling the Palladio that the comma denotes that these are two separate things, then you'll get a graph more like this. But if you don't do that, then whoever, then you'll have nodes that are just that full string with comma, whoever. Um, and that's perhaps not what you would like. Once you're in here, again, there's some options that might be of interest to you. For example, you might want to show the node sizes. just because, those people show up a bit more often, and that might be worth highlighting. Or you might want to, again, just hit the highlight option for just to give us a bit of more contrast. And then once you've done this, this is like one of the simplest ones that you could do. You can see, okay, there are some interesting clusterings. This is one of the things that we can see is that there are people who were central to the development of jazz during this period of time, according to the data set that we have. That's a caveat that we always have to say. And we can say a little bit about that. We can notice that there's some other clusterings going on elsewhere, but there are other things that are going on that are just clearly like not super central to jazz. Um, and there you go. That's about all you would really need to say. It's like, okay, we we divvied up the collaborators, and we can notice that there is a large group of people who collaborated with each other, and there are a variety of other people who, did their own thing. Good enough. Finally, I do want to say these I have on offer here links to spreadsheet walkthroughs by the Rayner Digital Scholarship Lab. These videos might give you a bit more insight if you want to, again, go down that rabbit hole, which you don't have to do. This this project, this assignment, is perhaps a bit more exploratory or a bit more creative than the last few. There are judgment calls that you will need to make. This might feel a little uncomfortable, might be not exactly what you like. It'd be nice to have a little bit more clearer direction, but the nature of humanities research is often wrapped up in creativity, also criticism. Like, okay, what can we notice about what didn't happen here? For example, if we go back to briefly, we can notice Tashiko Aki Akiyoshi. Um, well, that name is interesting and seems to be unlike many of the other names here, and it is also very much not connected to the bulk of the jazz that was going on. That might be worth mentioning, maybe. Depends on how you see things. All right, so that's where I'm going to end it here. Again, if you have any questions, you know how to contact me. All right.